Hi, Sadasita. I'm currently living in Santa Cruz, California. I'm a student of UC Santa Cruz studying cultural anthropology and a focus in ethnobotany. Um, I can say that what got me there is also part of my path of how I've had to navigate and adapt to the patriarchal society of the, the world. Um, I feel that every day I am working towards furthering personal empowerment and embodiment of my values, and a lot of who I am started off in Los Angeles, California. I grew up in Pasadena, and I always loved nature and gardening. And part of all of that grew into a passion for permaculture, and from my experience as a youth, being involved in drugs and parties, and having family members that were within that scene as well. So when I was 15, I developed an eating disorder as a means of coping with everything that was going on around me. Toxic family relationships, toxic friendships, toxic society, basically disconnected from the whole world. And when I was 20, I finally got my health somewhat situated, started school at City College, and got my hands dirty in gardening on campus, and it was really healing to be part of working groups that I felt I had things in common with finally. Some of the factors that led up to eventual overcoming phases of what I was experiencing were community and developing senses of community and friendships, and getting outside. And every time that I am not connected to the earth, I start to feel off, and I've had several relapses that each time I completely lost myself and had to regain myself, slowly picking up the pieces. And one of the most profound experiences that I've had that really shapes my passion now for gardening and gardening with the youth and community is around 2015. I was in one of the lower unhealthy points in my life, and I discovered a farm in Pasadena, and it was a 4-acre farm at a high school, and that was my first experience with farming and larger scale gardening other than my backyard or working at nurseries. And there I really learned what it was to nurture the earth. It wasn't until I got to that farm that I learned the value of nurturing the earth on a larger scale. And to some, 4 acres is huge, to others it's tiny. For me, it was a perfect container to explore what it meant to nurture myself and my being through interacting with the soil, with the plants, with the water, with taking the time to look at the rainbows that formed when I was watering plants in the nursery, or feel the sensation of the soil and the worms in the dirt, and pick a tomato and pick a zucchini and carry it in a wheelbarrow that weighed twice as much as me, and the sheer pleasure and drive that I got from doing those tasks was so much stronger than the demons that I was living with, and it really allowed me the space to want to feed myself, to want to nurture and get strong. And through that, I was also feeding the earth, and I was developing a deeper relationship with all of life. And I feel that my relationship with that also trickled down into my relationship with the high school students that I was working with, and I got a broader perspective of life outside of my bubble and what it meant to be growing up and going to school in one of the poorest districts, and to see the lack of support from the school system and how much they did not support a program that was aimed towards giving students opportunity to connect with nature and to learn and get their hands dirty and really develop compassion for where their food came from, like their ancestry, their community. And all the while I was learning about these perspectives, I was also applying it to myself. And through that, I discovered permaculture and landscaping, and I feel that those two, community gardening with the youth, plus permaculture and landscaping, really came together at the perfect moment. And I was able to meet some really wonderful resources and people who have carried me throughout the years and who I still draw on as mentors and who turn into family. And I've worked on projects with them over the years, and I've experienced the many dimensions of what it means to be a female in a society that's dominated by men, and also what it means to be a female in a society that is really going through a lot in terms of body image and control and empowerment. And I'm still navigating what all of that means today, and it's going to be a lifelong journey. Permaculture to me started out with the idea of permanent agriculture, and over the years, through my studies and through my understanding of Will Mollison's definition of permanent culture, it's really developed a new meaning to me, and I now see it as the way of life. It's not necessarily adopted by all cultures, but it's really a system that looks at all levels of life, the levels that we can see and that we can't see, that we can touch and that we can't touch. And it allows the system to flow together. And permaculture is all-encompassing. It does not say that you are wrong. It says, hey, this isn't working the most efficient as it could. What can we do to allow efficiency to happen? And that efficiency means for the people, for the earth, for the community, for infrastructure. And it is a way for me of allowing all of us and all of our freaky functioning selves to really thrive and discover our niche and work together. And that's what I like about permaculture. It says if you want to be getting your hands in the soil and dirty all day, great, do it. If you want to sit behind a desk and figure out some computer system and programming that allows these systems to better function, then do it. That's still permaculture. There are many things about permaculture that I really resonate with, and I've always felt that biodiversity creates biosecurity, and that is just something that Paul Stamets said one time in his talk, and I felt such an aha moment when he said that, and it made so much sense to me that biodiversity really creates biosecurity, and that can really translate to the soil, to the plants, to the people. And what it goes back to is our niche. And when it's applied to a garden or a farm, any agriculture, we need diversity in order to allow species to develop relationships amongst one another and to work together. And one thing that is wrong with our system on a whole with agriculture is that when fields and orchards are monocropped and we use pesticides, we pump in water and we don't harvest it, we don't set up efficient systems for runoff, it really doesn't allow the land to regenerate itself. It strips the land of biodiversity and nutrients, and they oftentimes go to waste, trickle into the waterways, and a lot of what are used are artificial fertilizers and pesticides, and those are not only killing the bees, killing pollinators, it doesn't allow the soil to build. It kills off all of life, and oftentimes crops crops grow together. Through my history of having an eating disorder and what that means to me, I've really learned the power in allowing people to live their own lives, and my relationship with gardening and personal empowerment has really taken the form of allowing people to be who they want to be. And one way that the world is going to change is through connection and holding space for people to connect. and for people to connect with the natural world. And I feel that we cannot heal each other and call and not relate to one another. Those don't go hand in hand, and there are so many differences that are arising, and so many methodologies, and people saying my way is right, your way is wrong, you're not eating organic, so you're a bad person, you're unhealthy because you eat McDonald's. And there's so many perspectives that are not taken account for. And if you cannot afford to eat organic, or you don't have resources to really sustain yourselves in a means that you want to, that you really aspire to, then who am I to say that you are unhealthy or you're wrong? And in a larger scale, like urban society, like Los Angeles, that is happening everywhere. We have children that are on government subsidized meals, and all they're eating is crap. And if I'm to say you are what you eat to a child who does not have any other means, and what am I telling them? I'm telling them that they're crap. I'm telling them that they're stupid, that they're, just another pawn. No, that's not right. And I feel that is something that really needs to change in the dialogue that is created amongst people that do work within agriculture and do work with permaculture, is really looking at the sides that are often unseen, and seeing that yes, there is a real divide within the allocation of resources, and we need to look at that before pointing fingers, and we need to really empower one another. And that to me is going to make a huge difference, because the youth right now need that. We need to look for ways to allow the children growing up in the concrete jungle to really have a relationship with life outside of their bubble as they know it. And there needs to be a way to allow that, and having a school garden is not enough. There are children who are afraid to get their hands dirty and their clothes dirty because their parents will have to go to the laundromat and haul their clothes if they come home dirty while they're working a 9-to-5 job 5 or 7 days a week. And there are so many cultural stigmas against what it is to be dirty, and that those are just a few ideas and examples of why it's not an easy fix to just have a garden or to have this or this program. There needs to be a deeper look at the foundation for these issues, and seeing the solutions that are possible within them. And there's an infinite amount of ideas and how to really implement those in the matrix. And I feel that the only way to really infiltrate or to change the matrix is to infiltrate it and get these perspectives. And it's really uncomfortable sometimes, but it's also a really great challenge. And for anybody who says that they have a a regenerative lifestyle or a passion for permaculture, they really need to look at these challenging situations and remove judgments that they have for that.